Good evening. This is a meeting of the Township Committee, August 19, 2019. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Star Ledger, the Independent, and the True Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk all on January 10, 2019. Committeeman Hyde.
Here.
Committeeman Sambrino.
Here.
Committeewoman Snell. Here. Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Here.
Mayor Perry.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor the troops serving worldwide defending our constitutions, freedoms, and way of life. Thank you. Our first order on tonight's agenda is the certificate of appreciation and proclamations that we have. We have our first proclamation is a proclamation recognizing September 2019 as National Recovery Month in the Township of Middletown. At this time, I'd like to invite Robert Buffo, the chairman of our Middletown Municipal Alliance, to please come forward.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody can hear me. First off, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. This is our second summer meeting that we've had, and our first summer meeting took place at the Tanya Keller Center in Ideal Beach. And obviously, I want to thank you and Luftman Towers for having us here today. It takes a lot of effort for our staff, and I want to thank our administrator, Tony Mercatante, Heidi Brunt, everybody that makes this possible. The way, and I'll talk through how our Township Committee meetings kind of work. We do our presentations and proclamations at the top of every meeting. And today, we are declaring September of 2019 as National Alcohol and Drug Addiction Recovery Month. And I'm honored to have with us and the entire Township Committee, and fortunate to have our great friend Bob Bucko be the chairperson of our Drug and Alcohol Alliance. And Bob, on behalf of the Township Committee, we want to thank you for all your work and obviously present you with the proclamation declaring a National Alcohol and Drug Addiction Recovery Month. For those of you that don't know what our Crossroads and our Drug and Alcohol Alliance, and I'll let Bob elaborate just a little bit, but it's an incredible program where we, right here in Lincroft, provide services to those suffering from addiction and those who are in need of help free of charge. And Bob and his team and our Department of Health, Richard Benedetto, and everyone over at Crossroads does just truly an incredible job. So Bob, I'll just read this quickly. We, the Township Committee, hereby proclaim the month of September 2019 as National Recovery Month in Middletown Township. And we call upon all the people of Middletown to observe this month with appropriate programs, activities, and ceremonies to support this year's Join the Voices for Recovery. Together we are stronger theme. Residents, neighbors, friends, and networking associates of Middletown are invited to the Alliance Community Rally at Middletown Day on September 28, 2019. Bob, on behalf of the Township Committee, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. We do a lot for everyone who has an addiction. Not only in Middletown, but anybody who walks through the door. We'll get going. I have to thank you and the Township Committee and the administration and the police department for your moral and financial support that you give us year in and year out. Crossroads is right up the street here. 730 Lincoln, 730, 520, the old library. That's where we meet once a month. And again, our counselors, and we will treat anyone with any type of addiction, whether it's drugs, alcohol, this new thing with vaping, bullying, gambling, you name it. So our door is always open. And again, Mayor, committee, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Our next proclamation, I am going to pull out of order. We have a proclamation declaring September 2019 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the Township of Middletown. And I'd like to invite John and Lois Gorsigner to please come forward.
So, for those of you who don't know, this dynamite crew right here, you want to talk about two great individuals in our community. It's the entire Gorsinger family, from their civics to their defense of our town. They are there every step of the way, and it truly is remarkable all that you and your entire family does for our community, just on a day-to-day basis. And it's what our community does together is what makes this township so great. But the reason, for those of you that don't know, John, the entire Gorsinger family has been greatly affected by childhood cancer. And I know it's tough to stand up here and put on a strong face, but I see the wristbands and you know, the work that you and the entire Gorsinger family does to raise funds, raise awareness for pediatric cancer, childhood cancer, is remarkable. And just briefly, the Township of Middletown hereby designates September 2019 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And it states that I, Mayor Tony Perry, and the entire Middletown Township Committee do hereby proclaim 2019 and September going forward as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the Township of Middletown in order to help raise awareness of pediatric cancer and its victims. So, John, Lois, my heart breaks for Natalie and for your entire family that goes through this, but they're fighters, and they'll continue to fight. And I know that everybody in this room and everybody behind you, you and the Gorsinger family are in our prayers each and every day. So I'll let you do a little pitch if you so want to talk about the organization.
We're really here representing our family because our son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren are taking a vacation, which I almost never do.
And they deserve it.
And very well deserved. Our daughter-in-law is really the driving force behind this, and she's truly amazing. Our granddaughter is a cancer survivor. Last Friday was the 7-year anniversary of the day she was diagnosed. She was diagnosed before she was 3. This Thanksgiving will be 5 years that she's cancer-free. And I always like to say that. We've been very fortunate because our story has a happy ending. Unfortunately, everyone we know hasn't been that lucky. And so right after Natalie was diagnosed, my daughter-in-law, I told her I would be in a fetal position on the floor. She said we have to do something for other people, and she started a foundation which raises money and awareness. And the town has been absolutely wonderful about being supportive of our family. The first thing she started was a campaign on Facebook called "Will You Send Us $1?" And one of the first people who donated was Councilman Heibel. So, thank you so much.
Only $1?
John went to the Chiefs meeting, and all the Chiefs donated $20. He shook them down. But with that, there's very little money that goes into the research for childhood cancer. And so the purpose of the foundation, which is called, it started out being called Lincroft for Natalie Grace. And because because she's a survivor now, expecting to love her kids fighting cancer. And my daughter-in-law, in the last 5 years, has raised over $1 million. And and 100% of the money goes to research and raising awareness. So we just want to thank you for this, and thank everyone so much. Middletown is a wonderful place to live and to have a crisis if you don't have one. So thank you.
Not too many.
We'd like to thank the Township Committee, in particular Rick Rd, for your continued support as well. And we just can't say you guys haven't done enough for us. It's really
So thank you very much.
thank you so much.
Excuse me, Mayor, I'm sorry, but it's kind of hard to hear somebody talk up here when I hear a lot of stuff going on back there. So I'm asking if everyone back there would please be quiet until they have a break or something, okay, so I can hear up here. Thank you.
We come here, they can't hear back. We come here
If you stop talking, you'll be able to hear.
They have hearing aids, they cannot hear.
Turn them off.
For tonight, the rest of our proclamations, I'll just read for the record. We have a proclamation declaring September 11, 2019 as Patriot Day and National Day of Service and Remembrance in the Township of Middletown. We also have a proclamation recognizing September 28, 2019 as Middletown Day in the Township of Middletown. A proclamation recognizing September 2019 as National Preparedness Month in the Township of Middletown. And a proclamation recognizing September 2019 as Turn the Town Teal in the Township of Middletown in recognition of ovarian cancer awareness. At this time, we have a presentation by our Senior Center Director, Rebecca Stouffer. This is an update on services offered by the Township Senior Center.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. I really enjoy meeting everybody. I see a couple new faces and some faces that are very familiar to me. So thank you very much. We are located in Croydon Hall on Leonardville Road. We have changed a couple of programs to make it a little bit more exciting. We have a staff of 5 people, 3 in the office and 2 are our bus drivers, which they do a fantastic job. And I can't ask for a better staff. They're excellent. We also have a nutrition center. They also do Meals on Wheels, and they have daily lunches Monday through Friday. All you need to do is call Mary, and she will put you on the list, and she feeds you so much food. So much food for such a nominal price, and it all is for a good cause. Our activities right now, we have watercolor painting, which is taught by an instructor. We have a knitting class, and I usually teach the monthly craft class if anybody's interested in coming. We have pinochle, mahjong, Rubik's Cube, exercise classes. We do have a bowling team, and they are looking for new members, so if anybody would like to join, just give us a call and we'll give you the information on that. We started afternoon movies, which is starting to really pick up now. We have our parties that we have with celebrating every 2 months. We do the birthday babies, and we have entertainment, and it ends up being a good time. We do trivia, presentations, monthly trips to Atlantic City, and we do different trips to different places. We're going at Christmas time to see the Hunterton Playhouse to see their Christmas special, so that should be really nice. We have coming new this year is pickleball. We're going to have language classes. We've never had that before. We're going to have Spanish and Italian. We're going to start a discussion group, an afternoon art studio where you bring your art supplies and you just hang out with your friends, have a cup of coffee, and do your art, whatever it is you do, draw, paint, whatever. We have a book club that is also done through the library. We meet every 2 months. And then we're going to be starting a computer class. That is something that's new that we will be getting into the center. We also received a new jitney bus, which we are so thankful to the mayor and council for. It is a fantastic bus. It's ran by natural gas. It's interesting how it runs, and everybody loves it, especially our drivers. They're happy that it's nice to do. And that's pretty much it. So if you want to, please stop by the center. If you have any questions, call me. If you want me to come stop at your house, I'll come stop and speak with you. And we can have a little coffee and chat. Okay? Thank you.
Our next item on tonight's agenda, we have approval of minutes for the June 17, 2019 regular meeting and the July 15, 2019 regular meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve minutes. At this time, we have a series of public hearings on proposed ordinances. Our first ordinance for tonight, public hearing, is 2019-3257, an ordinance ratifying appointment of Debra Marchetti as the Township's new certified tax collector.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on Public Ordinance 2019-3257? Seeing no member of the public stepping forward, move to close public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt ordinance 2019-3257 on second and final reading. Our next ordinance for public hearing, we have 2019-3258, an ordinance amending Chapter 465-110 of the Code of the Township of Middletown, reducing the speed limit on Broadway and Center Avenue in Leonardo.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on Public Ordinance 2019-3258?
May I ask, what is the speed limit as of right now, and what do you?
Hold on, sir. Hold on 1 second. Just come right up to this microphone. We got to get you on the record, and I'm happy to answer that question.
Good evening.
Your name and address.
My name is Douglas Brown. I'm a resident here at 41 Luftman Towers here. I would like to know, what is the speed limit there now, and what do you plan to reduce it to?
Sure. So thank you for your question. The current speed limit is 35 miles an hour, and we are reducing that down to 25 miles an hour. And the reason for that is, obviously, this is if you know this street, it's a windy street, very difficult to even go the 35 miles an hour, and obviously we want folks to slow down in this area. There's a lot of children. But another reason that we're taking this initiative is given the fact that this road goes directly into Atlantic Highlands, and when you cross the town's border, it becomes a 25-mile-an-hour zone. So it's a consistency, safety and consistency.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other member of the public wishing to make a comment on 3258? Seeing no other member of the public stepping forward, move to close public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes, with a quick comment. I just want to compliment Committeeman Hybel for the efforts to make that happen, that ordinance, and appreciate your leadership on that. Thank you.
Okay. Our next ordinance for public hearing, we have 2019-3259, an ordinance authorizing a stop intersection on Cooper Road at the intersection of McClees Rd.
Any member of the public wishing to step forward on Public Ordinance 2019-3259? Seeing no member of the public, move to close public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt this ordinance on second and final reading. Our next ordinance for public hearing, we have 2019-3260, an ordinance amending Chapter 465-100 of the Code of the Township of Middletown, adding no stopping or standing along Alexander Drive.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on 2019-3260? Yes, ma'am. Please step forward. Yep. And just your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Pamela Burtonson, and I live at 16 Alexander Drive in the River Plaza section. I'm here this evening to support the proposed ordinance, the restriction of parking on Alexander Drive at specific times. I'd like to thank the Township Committee, the engineers, and the police department for looking into this situation for us. I would like, for those of you that are not aware, I'm not sure where everyone stands on this, I'd like to just call attention to some safety issues. The street is a very narrow street, and there's no outlet, so it's not a through street. There are no sidewalks, so for me, it's an inconvenience, but for the children of our community, it's really a dangerous situation because there's all this crazy parking. It happens all day long, but when the school gets out at the end of the day, there are children that cross the street. They're walking in the middle of the street. There's cars coming in both directions, cars turning around in people's driveways, then backing up. And I think, and in addition to that, at that time of the day, in the morning and at night, there's no emergency vehicles could get in. So God forbid there were a fire, or someone needed an ambulance or police, it would be just impossible. And then the school itself has, so there's also people that park there that work there on Alexander during the day. So I checked the school, and there's 65 parking spaces behind the school that can accommodate the teachers and the staff there. So there doesn't really seem to be any reason why they need to park there. That's it. Thank you very much.
Any other member of the public wishing to speak on Public Ordinance 2019-3260? Seeing no other member of the public, I move to close public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Ordinance 2019-3261 was removed from the agenda at our last meeting. Our next public hearing is 2019-3262, a bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $30,600 for the acquisition of a video pipe inspection camera for the Department of Public Works by and for the Township of Middletown and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $29,070 in bonds or notes of the township for financing part of the appropriation.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on Public Ordinance 2019-3262? Leo.
Good evening, Leo Christophe, 121 Cranberry Court, Shady Oaks. What is the estimated, or if you know exactly, the amount of interest in cash and percentage on that $30,600?
Leo, none of these have had any funding issued on them, so no, we don't have the interest nor the cash equivalent on the bond ordinances that are being adopted tonight. We didn't issue bonds. We're approving bond ordinances tonight, which will allow us to spend money on these projects, and then also authorizes us to go out and sell debt, but we have not sold the debt yet.
Is this rather irregular process?
No, this is the typical process.
And so when can the public know the interest? Do you have to come and get it?
When we do a note or a bond sale, it's reported at a meeting, and that's when the public would know the interest on this and any other ordinances out there that we're going to fund by selling debt.
Will the public have to run after? Will you put it out?
It's at a meeting, Leo. It'll be done at a meeting. You'll be made aware, when the bond is issued, you'll be made aware of the interest at the meeting.
Last comment. This is the first time I was not answered, even in this body, and I've been coming to it irregularly, frequently, for 8.5 years. Usually you would get an estimate from the treasurer. Anyway, thank you very much. By the way, the national debt is a debt service, and I think they pay only the interest, and they just add to the principal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leo. Any other member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance 3262? Seeing no other member of the public, I move to close the public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Heibel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Our next ordinance for public hearing, we have 2019-3263, a bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $357,000 for the acquisition of easements for the Port Monmouth Flood Control Project by and for the Township of Middletown in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $339,150 in bonds or notes of the Township for financing part of the appropriation.
Any member of the public wishing to step forward and speak on public ordinance 2019-3263? Seeing no member of the public stepping forward, move to close public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Heibel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading.
Mayor, can I just add one thing about that
Sure.
particular one? I just want to bring to everyone's attention, just so everyone's clear, that although we're having to go out and front the money for the Port Monmouth flood control expenses for property acquisition, easements and survey work and all those sorts of things, ultimately 100% of that will be reimbursed to us by the Army Corps of Engineers and the federal government through the state. So while we do have to lay this money out initially, we will get all that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Yes.
Everyone voted.
We voted.
You did.
Call the phone.
Yeah.
I waited till you're done.
Waited till you were done, okay. Totally threw me off there, sorry. Got out of my rhythm. Okay, our next ordinance on tonight's agenda, we have 2019-3264, a bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $178,500 for improvements to Grand Tour Road by and for the Township of Middletown in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $169,575 in bonds or notes of the Township for financing part of the appropriation.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance 2019-3264?
Tom Gaffey, 11 Grand Tour. This is more of a clarification of a potential legal issue, and that is Grand Tour is not a road, street, way, or anything else. The legal name of that is Grand Tour. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
My name is George Whitelaw, and I live on 5 Indian Terrace. My first question is this include Indian Terrace?
I'm sorry?
This proposal, does it include Indian
Yes.
Terrace?
Yes.
Okay. The second question is, I remember 3 meetings ago, Mayor, we talked about having construction started by September, and it's now almost September. So I'm just curious, a lot of reasons for the delays. Is this delaying 2019, or does it mean this is a 2020?
We had to take a step, and as we've discussed at multiple meetings before, after we rejected the second bid for the estimate for Indian Terrace and Grand Tour. That allowed us, through a resolution, to go into negotiations with the bidders that bid on the project. Ted, our township engineer, has conducted those meetings, and tomorrow those bids are due back on what their final cost estimate would be, what their final bid.
That's the final offer.
Bid would be, so we took this action in order to provide ourselves simultaneous action that if those bids come back, we have the option to take action at our next meeting.
Sounds good.
All right.
The second question is, I understand that one of our neighbors is negotiating on the purpose of not taking care of the drainage. And the drainage is a major problem for us, particularly on our end of the street on Indian Terrace. I had sent to the town engineers about 8 years ago an engineering design on the street, and it shows that on one end of the street there's about an 18-inch drop. Also, there are fractures in the road, so you can have the same thing happen on downhill that happened on Grand Tour, where half the road slid into the pond.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get this done as quickly as
So
possible.
if I may, and I appreciate your comments, so this is one of those situations where when you try to move too fast, you work against yourself, and that's kind of what I'm seeing in this process here from our perspective. So yes, very true. I think what we are starting to see is there may be some different agendas as to speed and what to get done for whatever the purpose of those are. There's certainly a contingency that would like to see this done quickly. I mean, everybody would like to see this done quickly if possible. There's a contingency that would like to just see the paving because we could just do paving and meet the bid spec. There's a contingency that might have a longer time horizon there. They'd like to see the drainage for all the reasons that you say, and that makes perfect sense to me. The issue that I think that's happening here is the more we say that we'd like to have construction done by September, the more we work against ourselves because the economy is so good. These contractors are flush with work that if you try to squeeze them into a 3-month or 2-month time period, what ultimately happens is they tell you, fine, well, here's my price to do so, and you see that we get bids hundreds of thousands of dollars more than what the cost estimate should be. So if you give us time, and I know it's a hard thing to trust, right? Sometimes you say, oh, it's going to be 2019, you promised us September, but if you give us time, I'm pretty confident that if we give the contractors more time, they will meet the cost estimate or come closer to meeting the cost estimate. If we try to rush them in for whatever competing interests that some neighbors may have, we're going to wind up with a project that's going to cost twice the amount that I can't promise I'm going to vote for. So I think we're going to get there, but I think this process is something that might take a little bit longer because of the just nature of the economy right now. Because of the nature of the vendors. I see Mr. Bucko there, he represents a major engineering firm. He can tell you offline how hard it is to get contractors right now to do any sorts of work. Go try to do a bathroom project in your house and you're going to see something twice the amount, right, that you did a year ago. It's just the nature of the beast. So we're trying and we're going to get there, but I think if we try to rush this, I'm not sure we're going to get there. So I think we got to really try to meet a time horizon that can be negotiated.
And I agree with everything the Deputy Mayor just said. And the other hard part about this has been now we are receiving mixed signals. At one point, the Township Committee was receiving emails from your neighborhood with the entire neighborhood CC'd on the email. And that was great because everybody was on the same page. And then it seemed that we were getting emails separately with no neighbors on it, requesting that instead of worrying about stormwater management and why do we need to worry about stormwater management, let's just pave the road and it'll be quick. Because we were being told, well, McClees Road is X big, and you were able to do that in a very short amount of time. Well, my argument to that, and I know Ted would agree, is that, well, McClees Road carries emergency vehicles, it carries commute hundreds of commuters per day. There are multiple reasons, and it's much longer. So the neighbor was a little bit upset with the priority list that it was being placed on. And all of a sudden it became, well, let's forget about stormwater management and let's just go to making it look nice.
I think, I'm not going to speak in her behalf, but I think the reality is a financial reality. She anticipates that her house will probably go $200,000 or $300,000 less, which will depreciate all the other houses in the neighborhood. And so we're talking about.
I'm sorry, her house is for sale?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But the concern, her concern is
Interesting.
her concern is her selling price. Our concern is the actual value of our homes.
Right, but if we just pave the road, if you guys all say, hey, just pave the road and forget about the stormwater management, we're gonna be able to meet the bid. We did McClees Road for a fraction of the price without drainage, so that's the struggle, right? The drainage is the cost here, when you add in the additional cost and the labor and the time and the construction. Just paving, I'm pretty sure that our initial estimate, that Ted, I don't remember what the initial estimate was, but if we just said paving, we wouldn't be doing this action tonight. It was just for paving, just, even if we paid more than McClees, because the contractors couldn't be that much more. McClees is significantly bigger road.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
Well, again, I'm speaking on my behalf, and I don't know about you.
Yep.
But I know you had actually flood damage from on your property. And I have a problem in that the drainage is in my septic system. But the net value is that we'd like to see something done, and the reality is that if her house does get sold, and it is depreciated because of the street, and the whole neighborhood will be.
so the question becomes, if you want it to be done quickly without giving any additional time for the time cost, my opinion, I'm one person, is then you're gonna be looking at paving only. If you want it to be done correctly, like the committee would like to see, so it's done once, done right, you might be looking at 6-8 months. I can't tell you what you're gonna be looking at. I don't know. I don't know how busy the contractors are. I'm sure they're pretty busy, but that's the.
When he was back.
It's not about negotiation. When he negotiates, if they say, oh, well, we could do it in 2 months, but our cost is gonna be $512,000 to get it done in 2 months, but if you give us till March, we could do it for $280,000, guess what? We're either waiting until March, or we're just doing paving. Because I'm not voting, I mean, unless you get 3 others here, I'm not gonna vote to overpay to try to meet, a person who's selling her house's timeline. I think that's irresponsible.
Well, I can't speak for my community, but if you're talking about a signed contract that's going to be deliverable in March, but if it means coming back to the committee for 2 more votes, because this process has been ongoing.
Right. That's because the cost estimate versus the bids have been way out of.
Tomorrow we will see when those bids, final bids come back.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, Tom.
Just, the whole idea of saying that because of the road needs paving, it's going to lower the value of her home or anyone's home by $200,000 is just nonsense. There's no real direct correlation, because if there were, then the reverse would be true. So after the road is paved, should everyone's assessment go up by $200,000 because now it is a paved road? It doesn't make any sense. So it's kind of a specious
I'm not an expert
concern.
in this, but I spoke to Dave Molinari at Monmouth University to get his opinion. And so we were discussing it, and his knee-jerk reaction is that it could probably influence people who are going to purchase a piece of property at the end of a 2-mile dead-end road.
I find that very hard to believe, but again, to my point though.
If he writes a letter to me, I'll send you a copy.
Okay, but then ask him also, then if the road gets paved, should that add value?
No, we want to get the value that we're being presently assessed at.
Well, but if the road is newly paved, wouldn't that add value by the same argument?
Excuse me.
That's all I'm saying.
The added value was she was asking for her home. Her home price is going to go down because of the road. It's not going to go up because you repair it. It'll be at the value at which she stipulated. But you've assessed our house.
Mm-hmm. But wasn't Grand Tour a dirt road? Was Grand Tour a dirt? No? Years ago.
I'm sure it was.
Years
I
ago.
know we find
Every other road.
we find Indian stuff in there, so there's probably wigwams.
But we understand.
So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wishing to speak on Public Ordinance 3264.
May I go back up? May I?
Sure, you know, 1 minute.
Tom Gaffey again. I appreciate Mr. Whitelaw's comments. I appreciate prior comments that have been made by members of the committee, in that there is a fiduciary responsibility that must be taken into account by the committee. But by the same token, paving over a incomplete road would not be financially or fiscally responsible. And I, quite frankly, will be very verbal and will fight it tooth and nail if the road is not done properly.
Thank you, sir. Any other member of the public on 3264? Seeing no other member of the public, move to close public portion and approve. Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Our final ordinance for public hearing, we have 2019-3265, a bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $397,800 for various improvements by and for the Township of Middletown in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $377,910 in bonds or notes of the Township for financing part of the appropriation.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance 2019-3265? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, thank you. My name is Debra Marchetti. I am a 24-year resident of Middletown, 260 Dwight Road. I reviewed the proposed ordinance and I have a question regarding the redesign. My sons who have participated at the park their entire lives have been told that the redesign will basically level Normandy Park and only include soccer fields. Could somebody please give me information about the proposed redesign, because it's not something that
Yeah, we'll be having a hearing specifically on Normandy Park at the end of August, at least 28th. But no, the plan is not to have it be a soccer-only facility. The tennis courts will remain, the basketball courts will remain. The only thing that may be eliminated would be baseball field. The tennis courts might be, obviously, the baseball field may be relocated to a different portion of the property, but they'll still be there.
Basketball.
I'm sorry, basketball.
So it's a fairly large amount of money for the redesign. I mean, what's being included that includes that amount of money?
We're looking at, well, first of all, the entire site would have to be probably regraded. We're talking about putting soccer fields in, which would have synthetic turf, which would need drainage systems. And so it's not inexpensive, but we have a tremendous demand for that, for those sorts of fields.
I'm only curious about that because if you live in that neighborhood and you look at Dwight Road and you look at, there's a tremendous amount of soccer fields all around our neighborhood. I mean, it's right next to our grammar school, we have these soccer fields. Is there really a need?
There is. The fields that you see two fields on Nutswamp School.
Yes.
The township built those fields.
Yes.
But they're for township recreation programs, though we make them available to the school district during school hours. The fields at Thompson have not been available and may or may not be available in the future. So what we have is a shortage of fields, soccer fields, and it's really soccer and lacrosse, I should say. And the reason we need fields with synthetic turf is that we don't have the ability to rest fields around town. So every field gets used every single season, and that's why some of them are in poor condition.
I understand that. It's just such a niche sport, and there's so many other sports
It's
out
not
there
just
that
soccer,
kids-
though, that's, I think,
Yeah.
the
It's
point. This is multi-purpose.
So the park will still have basketball courts, tennis courts, and the volleyball field will still be there, or?
I don't know about the volleyball court, but the tennis and basketball is intended to remain.
So basically, the volleyball and the baseball will be gone?
Yeah.
Is that correct? And I'm sorry, when did you say is the follow-up meeting on?
I believe it's August 28th.
Yeah.
And where's that?
It'll be in Town Hall, 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance 3265? Seeing no other member of the public, move to close public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. At this time, we have an ordinance for introduction, ordinance number 2019-3266, an ordinance amending the 2019 salary ordinance that was numbered 2019-3244.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held at our workshop meeting in September, which could possibly now be held on September 9th, 2019 instead of Tuesday the 3rd, but that will be advertised as follows. Our next item on tonight's agenda, we have a consent agenda, which would include resolutions 19-200 through 19-222, including bingo and raffle applications.
So we're right under consent agenda. Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt consent agenda. At this time, we have Township Committee comments.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few comments this evening. I appreciate everyone coming to the Township Committee meeting, the second of two that are on-the-road committee meetings as designed by the mayor. So it's a few times we get to see this many people involved. So thank you for coming here today. Hopefully, if you're not able to get to our committee meetings during the year, you see a little bit of the process and we were able to bring it to you. So we appreciate you coming this evening. The second item that I have is that yesterday I did attend one of many Eagle Scout ceremonies. It was Troop 122 at the VFW, and this Eagle Scout is just turning 18. Had a series of achievements. Not only did he achieve his Eagle Scout badge, he had done a project at the VFW that rebuilt the stage in the recreation area at the VFW. He'll be attending Rutgers in the fall for a registered nurse program, and he will be entering the Air Force ROTC. Quite impressive, quite a lot for someone of 18 to do, and someone that we will look towards from the Township Committee for a leadership position in the future. So it was a pleasure for me to attend that. We did also attend the VFW picnic as well. Would be on the same site, so fairly convenient. But we always want to remember all the sacrifices that our veterans have made for everyone today and in the future. We wouldn't be here and have the freedoms that we enjoy today without their sacrifices. So that's why I have for this evening, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Committeeman Sedambrino. Committeeman Hybel.
Yes, I just want to say to the Gorsinger family, you guys do it. I guess it's been about 8 years since we served as chief together. Your family is always someone this town can count on, and I just want to tell you, you raised a great son, and you got a great daughter-in-law. You guys are doing an amazing job, and I'm just so proud to have known you my whole life. So thank you for what you guys do and always do. I just would like to talk, I was able to get a couple committee members over, help me with some second chance toys this weekend. I don't know if they'll come back again and help me have a house.
No way.
If anyone has any toys, you can bring them down to Second Chance Toys at the Canes Lane. They have great hours every day but Tuesday, I understand. Tuesday and Wednesday, sorry. I brought about at least maybe a dozen, which was it was great. My kids were excited about it. My son came, and we passed it along to somebody else. So if anyone who has those toys, bring them on down. Next, the speed limit on Center Ave. It was a major need, and I'm glad the committee was behind that in every way. It's a very dangerous street. My time, there's been many accidents there. I do live close to it. It is a confusing speed there, so I'm glad it was taken care of. And let's see. National Night Out, if anyone attended, was just amazing to see all the police officers, the kids. My 3 kids had an amazing time there. They climbed all over the police cars and actually dumped a few police officers in the dunk tank. Next year I heard the mayor's going to go in there, so we're excited to see who that's going to be.
Let's go win.
It'll be the biggest fundraiser you can find.
Fiore's the first one up.
He'll try to break my record.
So we're hoping to see that next year. Again, Luftman Towers, thank you for having us. This room is great. I haven't been in this room since I was fire chief. This is a great place, and you guys keep it up really nice. It's a beautiful place. Thank you.
I would say thank you, but I'm not going to. Committeewoman Snell.
Thank you for coming. It's nice to see so many here. I too wanted to just make a quick comment about our fabulous police department. I echo Committeeman Heidel's comments about the police department, what they did at first night, but along with that, we all know how difficult it is these days to be a police officer, and they just do a fabulous job. I never hear any of them complain. They go above and beyond. The mayor and I were fortunate enough to go to 3 Police Week graduations this summer, where boys and girls between the ages of 7 and I believe 14 go for a week and do all these police activities with them, right on down to being locked in a jail cell, driving with those crazy glasses like they've had too much to drink, and they go to the Coast Guard. It's just a fabulous week. And I saw police officers almost have more fun with them than the kids did with the officers. They did a video of each group that went through. And the last group that we were just to last Friday had 74 children that went through that program for the week. And that was the largest group they've had up until now. So I urge you all to talk the police up, because their jobs are difficult, and to see how much love they give back to our town is really an incredible thing. So when you see a police officer, just say thank you. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Committeewoman Snell. Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, it's not every public ordinance hearing that you could probably touch every section of Middletown like this one did. So a rarity that I believe we approved something for almost every section of town in this. So interesting to point out, but glad that our administration brought those worthwhile projects for us. A few things. First, I'm not going to steal the mayor's thunder with the police department, but we do have the best police department in the United States. And by the National Night Out, to see all the community members coming out there to support our police department, you will know why the mayor is so proud of what he'll announce to you if you haven't heard for probably now the 5th time that I can think about. Of an accolade that over the last couple of years we've been so fortunate to get because of our wonderful community and police department that I won't steal this thunder. I'll let him, if you haven't heard, give you that one. But a few other things. You may not notice, or you may notice on the consent agenda, there's 2 specific resolutions that we approved on the consent agenda tonight, and I think it's vitally important for the economics of this town. And something that, as a committee member who has been on the committee for a decade now, I actually ran on this premise, and that was the Route 36 corridor and the Port of Belford. If you look at this municipality, and I commend this committee, I commend this administration for doing everything they can to keep and have kept Middletown, from a municipal perspective, our taxes as reasonable as possible. And we can all argue that taxes are unreasonable. I'm a taxpayer. I hate paying mine every quarter, trust me. But we do our best to keep them, as reasonable, as low if we could cut them, as stable as possible. In fact, I think our budget this year is probably equal to what our budget would have been in 2011 if we didn't cut back when I was mayor in 2011. Remember that $71 million number that we had to bring all the way back into the 59 level. But, we're kind of running out of space, right? We don't have the ability. You see Amazon and you see these warehouses and you see all these other towns benefiting. If you go up and down the New Jersey Turnpike, you see all these warehouses that are bringing commercial ratables to those towns. We don't have trucks allowed on the parkway for us to get those types of ratables. So you go down to Tit Falls at 105, where trucks are allowed through Route 18 and other venues, you see that they're able to benefit from that type of economics. And what you've also noticed, probably if you've been here long enough, is that commercial parks are kind of a thing of the past, right? You're never going to see another AT&T type facility built because commercial office space is just not what it used to be with telecommuting. And that used to be the bread and butter. AT&T is our biggest taxpayer, right? We're thankful that we were able to keep them here when they were about to move to Texas a few years ago. But what do we have left, right? What we have left right now is Route 36, right? 35 is our business corridor right now, and 36 could be, something that brings in those tax ratables, because we have something that not a lot of others have, and that's waterfront property. And if we can, and I know we've talked about this for a long time, tonight we actually appointed a developer to work with the county, to work in these RFPs that we've been working on. God, Tony, you've probably worked on this 15 years, if not longer, right? To look at the Port of Belford, which could provide tremendous economic benefit for this municipality and help our tax base, which could bring the necessary investment to Route 36. And look, I don't want to see more car dealerships, used car dealerships, gas stations, whatever you see there, right? We need to see real things that are going to bring in businesses, restaurants, storefronts, things that are going to help bring up your real estate values, things that will help this municipality. And that's where I think the Port of Belford could be that landing spot. So I'm proud to make that vote tonight. I know there's a lot of work to be done with it, but if we can get this right and future committees can get that project right, Route 36 is going to benefit tremendously. Not only in Middletown, from all the way when you get off of 117 to when you get to Sandy Hook. And I think that will be very important for the future of this municipality, because we're not just going to be able to find new ratables on a daily basis. The final thing I just want to talk about is an action this committee took 2 days after, I believe, the last Township Committee meeting. I think it was voted on probably in the executive session. And many people send emails, write Facebook, some nasty, some good, on Facebook. But they send kind of questions like, what's going on? Why are these trees being cut down, right? Why are all these things being cut down on Route 35, for different developments? Well, those were due to actions taken in 2009. 2009. We are in 2019 right now. And in 2009, it was my first year on the committee. I took a vote, probably the only vote that I regret on this committee, to concur with the Middletown, the state of New Jersey's COA third round affordable housing rules. And I was asked, along with my colleagues, to rezone properties to comply with these affordable housing mandates. And I voted yes as a new committee member. Worst vote I've ever taken in my life, okay? And it took about 10 years, and 10 years of court, and the rules kept changing, and the goalposts keep moving, and other towns are getting relief, and all of a sudden Middletown does more than everybody else, and it doesn't count. But the actions that you see right now going on, Village 35, going on in other areas, Taylor Lane, Avaya, 4 Ponds right here in Lincroft, those were all actions taken in 2009 under the third round rules. Now we get to 2019, and guess what? New rules, new quotas, new mandates. And this committee, who has done more in this municipality to provide affordable housing, and I don't oppose affordable housing. Let me get that straight for the record. I don't oppose it. This state is very unaffordable, especially the seniors. But we're not allowed to build any more senior housing in Middletown to count. Doesn't count, according to the state. Affordable housing in this state is just a word to get developers to build more housing. They build one affordable for 5 market rates, right? 20%. That doesn't make the town more affordable. What also doesn't count, Middletown has over 3,600 homes. The average price home, average value is what, Colleen? $454,000? They're about 454, I'm a numbers guy. Middletown has over 3,600 homes of our 24,000, so call it 20% of our homes assessed at less than $250,000. Okay, which by my standards, in this mortgage rate environment, it's probably less than a lot of rents. It makes it affordable. None of them count. None of them count towards our quotas. And they don't count because we're not clearing trees and building new housing units to count towards this quota. So this committee decided no more. This committee decided to withdraw. We now put ourselves under subject of potential lawsuits by builders and developers, but guess what? Good for my colleagues. They don't have to take the same vote I took 10 years ago, and they don't have to go and wonder why they had to vote for that, to clear more land when this isn't making the state more affordable. Want to make the state more affordable? Change what's going on in Trenton. It'll have a huge impact here in Middletown. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I will keep it very brief. I just want to continue off of, and I have to say that I appreciate my colleagues not stating this and leaving it for me, because I saved the best for last. And that is something that I am so incredibly proud of. I need to compliment everybody up here, but I need to compliment truly our incredible police department. Middletown was rated the safest small city in New Jersey just 2 weeks ago, and the 7th safest in America. That's not because of one little rating or another. That's because of the unbelievable police work. That's because of the amazing community that we have here. That's what makes us be rated one of the greatest places to raise a family, to live. And that's why we see these ratings time and time again. I'm honored that it happened during my tenure as mayor, but I'm not the one that deserves a round of applause. It's the folks right now, it's 116 police officers that keep us safe, that are there at a moment's notice, and that right now are driving around our streets, patrolling our areas, making sure that our children get safely to school, that you and your colleagues and your friends and your family get to work each and every single day. That's what makes this town great, is the greatness of our community and the greatness of our police department. And I think it is, again, I am unbelievably humbled and honored that it happened under my tenure, but I don't deserve any of the credit for it. It's the community and it's our police department that deserves all the credit, but they're not the ones asking for a pat on the back. So I want to thank Craig Weber, our police chief, Deputy Chief Stefanski, and every single member of our police department. Thank you very much for doing such an unbelievable job to deserve this honor. I'm going to call out one thing as well. If you really, Committeeman Heibel brought up how him and Chief Gorsinger served together. If you really want to see something interesting, hop on over to the Applebee's, and as soon as you walk in, John looks exactly the same. Ricky does not. Ricky looks much older now. John, you still look great, man. So, again, John, always thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Mr. Bucko, Chairman, thank you very much for all your work on the Drug and Alcohol Alliance, and we very much appreciate that. I want to thank Luftman Towers for hosting us today. This was the second of our 2 Township Committee meetings on the road, and I really want to thank our Township employees for making it possible. Ted and everyone from DPW, Joe and Rob from our IT department, thank you. Heidi and Karen from our clerk's office, thank you very much. Jesse, Tara, Maureen, Laura, everybody in my office, thank you for making this happen, making it seamless, and being able to provide the residents of East Kingsburg and Ideal Beach and the residents of Lincroft the ability to come to our meetings and see the inner workings of the Township Committee. So with that, I will open it up to public comments. Any member of the public wishing to speak will have the ability to do so. Just want to And I forgot, I'm sorry, I forgot, how could I forget? Our Township Administrator, Tony Mercantante, and our CFO, Colleen Lapp. They're normally sitting in front of me, so I see them. But thank you both, obviously. And so any member of the public wishing to speak, please keep your comments to just 5 minutes. When you arrive at the microphone, just your name and address for the record. Any member of the public wishing to make a statement?
Yes, if I may again, Douglas Brown here at Luftman Towers, 41. I do see a lot of construction, building construction, as I seen on New Monmouth Road, was it Middletown, Lincroft Road, and different places being going on. And I see that the township has somewhere around about 18 schools. 17. I think something needs to be done because I see in the future they're going to be planning on building more schools because there's a lot going on in Middletown. So has the board ever thought of anything like that's going to be coming up?
So we have a very good relationship with our Board of Education, myself and Deputy Mayor Fiore, along with 4 members of the school board and administrative staff actually just met and we were discussing this. The one thing that I will note, and as our administrator will tell you, Tony went to Middletown High School. He didn't go to North or South. And the decision to expand the schools was because our student population was going over the 14,000 mark. And Tony, tell me if I'm saying anything incorrect. But now we're looking at 9,000 and potentially lower than that. Obviously, the next census, which I believe they just started the process, it will give us a clear indicator. But the Township Committee, the administration remains in constant contact with the President, Vice President, and administrative staff of the school board to constantly hear their needs, understand their concerns, and work with them to try and obviously reduce costs for them, reduce costs potentially for us, continued shared service, and the examination. I would encourage you to go to a school board meeting because they're going to be discussing they've already started, but discussing the strategic plan committee, which the township will have a representative on there. I know Deputy Mayor Fiore's already volunteered for that position. Committeewoman Snell attends every school board meeting, so we always have a liaison at every single one of our school board meetings. But understand your comments and your you bringing that to our attention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other member of the public? Yes, sir.
Good evening, my name is James Zerwajeris. I'm at 226 Harmony Road, across from the former Middletown Superintendent's Club. Thanks for looking out, if you will. I wanted to bring to the Township Committee's attention certain issues that we have as residents of that neighborhood with the ongoing construction of the second ice rink, which was originally deemed as an indoor sports facility, and I know that we had a conversation with Township Administrator Mercantante back on June 4th, but we haven't had any, but one communication since then, and I wanted to ask for the Township's advice on the best way to proceed with clearing some of these issues. For example, the machinery that the current ice rink uses to cool the ice and the machinery that's on the plans for the second rink are not enclosed. They're not screened in accordance with the Township Ordinance 54632. There is insufficient landscaping, and our first request for a landscape plan for the upper system was actually returned as not available. A second request for landscape planning was provided, but there are no evergreens concerning in front of the screening. There are no evergreens in front of this new parking lot, which will shine lights directly into the residences. So that was my first question: is how can we go about trying to work on this plan, which there was no public review of, that we had difficulty in obtaining, and we'd like to be able to ask the township to request additional
plantings, mature evergreens. We request adjustment to the lighting of the parking lot, once again in protection of the residences there on Old Country Road.
Sure. So, Tony, is as a part of the requirement, just like similar in that area, the Tractor Supply Company, for instance, had to plant trees, I believe, of at least hedges or trees of at least 36 inches along the side of their property. Is that happening here as well?
Well, because there was never a site plan like there would normally be, there wasn't a specific requirement for it. However, after I met with Mr. DeRogeris, and I guess it's your wife, we met in June. We then had a subsequent meeting with the Ice World group about a variety of issues, but one of the things I spoke to them about were the concerns of the neighbors, and they were enthusiastic, and they have no issues with meeting with you and putting in the additional landscaping and dealing with the sound attenuation from that big piece of equipment out there. And so I know, I actually emailed your attorney last week to find out where things stood, and she said that they had attempted to reach out to her once, but not again, and she didn't have their contact information. She asked me to get that to her, so she'll have that tomorrow, because I just got it tonight, for the attorneys for them. And they will work out some way to meet with you and come up with a solution for your concerns. So they're more than happy to do it.
All right, she did not inform us that you had communicated with her. As far as we knew, the last communication took place like the second week of June.
No, well, if you check with her last week, you'll find out I sent her an email saying, hey, what's the status? Did you ever meet with these guys? And she explained there has been some trying to get in touch with them back and forth, so hopefully they'll work that out soon.
Thank you very much. One other point you mentioned about taxes. When we were speaking with Mr. Mercantanti back in June, we raised concern over New Jersey Titans being tax exempt or having the properties being tax exempt. We continue to have that concern now that the properties, or the swim club portion of the property, is being managed by Camp Coconuts, a for-profit organization.
I don't think Camp Coconuts is.
First of all, Camp Coconuts is a nonprofit, but that's kind of irrelevant. There are a number of taxing issues related to that property, which we actually had a meeting to discuss tonight in closed session, and it's not really appropriate to discuss it in public at this point, but we have the same...
No, I'm just calling attention to our concerns about
Sure.
that property to the Township Committee.
Right, when we have the same concerns you have, and it's in the works.
Thank you very much for your comments, sir. Any other member of the public wishing to make a comment? Seeing no other member, Leo? Sorry, Leo, couldn't see you.
Leo Christophe, 121 Cranberry Court, Shady Oaks, Middletown. Regarding,
Leo, can you speak into the microphone?
I'm trying to do that
Closely.
closely.
You're good.
Regarding Fair Share Housing Center and co-op, I have an article here from the Asbury Park Press, I think it's Sunday's newspaper. The title is Working Families Priced Out. Subtitle, Middletown Failing to Comply with Affordable Housing Requirements. My addition to the subtitle is for development of houses on new building projects. The writer of this article says the operative word is affordable housing. The operative word is new affordable housing. Middletown should be highly commended as an article that has appeared or may appear on the Middletown message. And they have done extensive, over the years, remediation, renovation, restructuring, building, all sorts housing, and they've even pushed, according to an article that I've been released to me, written by the mayor, may appear in the newspaper tomorrow. They have done tremendous work, as it's described and given in details, in numbers, in providing affordable housing, but it's old affordable housing. When I was over in Tinton Falls for 35 years, from 75 to 2010, whatever it was, I went through this COA stuff more through the newspapers than anything else, but I did encounter it, and I did talk to the treasurer, Steve Pfeffer, about once a week for about 45 minutes. He never chased me out of his office for 4 or 5 years. And so the fact is that there are a lot of new developments in just my eyes. You know, I don't shop around. I drive around and I see construction. New developments without affordable housing in Middletown. So I think the point of the article, Mayor, respectfully, is not as terrible in its analysis as your article makes it out to be. I think he's has enough in it that if you all sat together, you could find a clear view of this instead of the old pitched battles that have been going on for 40 years. This last comment. Wyckoff Road was changed to Squonkam Road, where the smell is, and they were going to put housing in there, and the schedule was one of the houses for every 5 that was built. I don't think it happened. It's a field of a power field with solar panels, big long one.
This is in Tinton Falls, right?
Tinton Falls. So that got wiped out. The schools need the children to get state aid. Remember that. So there's a contradiction of 2 governments in every municipality, not a majority of them. The last comment is out along, when you get to the end of Squonkam Road and you take a left on 33, you're going to go a long way down to the an ice making place. Inside, paralleling the county road 33 is a Tinton Falls road, and that was the people own it. I know them. They were going to use a builder's remedy. That's the challenge to
I hear you, Leo, and for the sake of time, because I know your time ran out. But let me just say a couple things to what you said. You mentioned that if we sat down and hashed it out, yeah, that happened. From July of 2014 until July of 2019. So we did, and we tried to hash it out. But there was clearly no number that they were ever going to be happy with. Okay? They get to sit and, someone writes an op-ed for the gentleman in the article, revealing all interesting information that about 12 people in the town know. So the question is, do we sit here and allow for a nonprofit organization to bully us around? There's 565 municipalities. They say, no thank you to the senior housing, okay? Well, are seniors a class that need help in the state that is one of the most expensive in the entire nation? Absolutely. Social Security is not paying the rents or the mortgages in the state of New Jersey. But they say, no thanks. Okay, got it. We work with Habitat for Humanity to try and take the cost off the taxpayers. So we work with Habitat, they renovate houses that have gone into foreclosure that the town has, okay, not good enough. Unless you are ripping up a farm, unless you are chopping down acres of forest, they don't want it. The 5 of us, I would rather never be elected to dog catcher than sit at this table for the next 15 years and be known as a mayor that took not one stance on an issue. I don't care if I ever serve in public office again, I'm not going to be the one that said he really never stood for anything. So that's the reason I voted. And I think it was disgusting, and I think it was bigoted, the account that that man took in that article for attacking Middletown. Not only did he not have the courtesy to call up, ask for a meeting, talk to me, talk to any of the members of the Township Committee, Tony Mercantante, Brian Nelson, we would have all been happy to. But instead, he writes a baseless and inaccurate attack on Middletown's record of producing more than 600 affordable units. This building that we're sitting in right now doesn't count. Well, I don't think any of the seniors here would say that they're wealthy millionaires that want big-time apartments, luxury condos. No, they're seniors on fixed incomes. And this Township Committee has never been afraid in addressing that issue. And we've done so. And we've asked, and we've asked, and we've asked, and we've asked for certain, it's always very funny where they want to put it and where they don't. Certain roads along certain big-time money roadways, well, maybe the first lot, but nothing past that. Nothing past certain roads on certain major, big money, property tax paying roads. No, we don't want anything. We don't want anything further down that cul-de-sac. No, thank you. The insinuation that that man made, that I found disgusting, was that he said that the African American community and the Latino community could only live in Middletown by building affordable housing. Who's the bigot? I have right here, and I'll show it to you, not to take up any more time, but I find it so appalling, the application for affordable housing. This is the application you need to fill out. And if you're lucky enough to get your name called when an affordable housing unit comes up, there's one thing that's not on here, your ethnicity, because it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're green, black, white, blue, orange, it doesn't matter. If you fit the criteria for your income, then you have the right to see whether or not you're eligible for an affordable unit. And not one person up on this dais will say otherwise. I don't care what color you are. I was the only mayor that stood up in Trenton and supported legislation that would have provided our police, our first responders, our teachers, our EMS, our all-volunteer fire department, with the town given them the ability to provide 50% of the town's affordable housing obligation to those individuals. I was the only mayor that stood there in Trenton and said, this is a great thing. Because I want the 4th grade teacher that's teaching our kids to live in this town. I want the firefighter that's coming to save you. I want the police officer that's protecting you to live in this town. And for them to say that they don't want that is shameful. And I'm not going to stand for it. So like I said, I will never apologize. I said it in my article, I will never apologize for standing up for the people of Middletown. And if we're the only 5 that want to do it in this state, that's fine by me. That's fine by me, because I know that I'm not standing alone. I'm standing with the people of Middletown. And I don't give a damn what the other 564 other mayors think.
The inside road that is in Tenth Falls.
Leo, your 5 minutes was up, though. I was just responding. I gave you after your 5 minutes. I wanted to respond to your comments because I'm very passionate about this issue, but your 5 minutes was up. I'm sorry. Thank you, Leo.
I asked for another minute.
After the meeting, I'll stop for you. I'll wait for you.
You know what, you know?
Any other member of the public wishing to make a statement? Leo knows it's not personal, I'm just passionate about it. Seeing no other members of the public, move to close public portion and adjourn.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adjourn.
Have a good night, everybody.